Hello. This is Drop the Mic Live Mic, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, each and every Sunday. And I'm Shannon E, guys. Let's get ready and let's go. Okay. Guys, I need you to share this live. I'm going to start by sharing my live before we get started and before I let you guys know what the topic of discussion is for tonight. Hello, King. Hello, my cousin. What is going on? I think that you should stay on tonight. This is going to be a great show and a great topic, okay? I want you guys to really tap in tonight. I'm feeling really good about the topic of discussion for tonight. And yeah, that's just basically that on that. Y'all know how this goes. Share my live with 5 people, y'all. Share my live. Looking for Boozy to say, oh, no. I know we couldn't make it, but we'll be there next weekend. We weren't able to make it today. And they told us last minute about what was going on. So, but yes, we will be there. But let's get started with the Drop the Mic, guys. I need you guys to share my live with 5 people. Okay, at least 2 will join. We all know that there are a power in numbers. I really want to get into some things. Powerful conversation. And I'm going to be very real with y'all. Like, I don't think this is a conversation that I need to have by myself. Continue to share my live on Instagram, but I also want you to go and subscribe to my YouTube page. I think it's very imperative that you guys subscribe to my YouTube page. Okay, get this thing rolling. All right, let's go. So as I continue to share my live, I will tell you guys at first before I pin the topic of conversation that the topic of conversation for tonight is transparency and exposure. Okay, that is the angle that I'm going in tonight. Okay, transparency and exposure, and I'm going to specifically gear towards children. Right? Children, their exposure, their transparency, things of that nature, and also adults. Okay, but we're going to go a little bit into relationships and the exposure and transparency. And I'm going to tell y'all why. So I'm writing the topic of conversation for tonight, transparency and exposure. And as I do that, I want you guys to continue to share my live. For all my new followers who do not know what it is that I do each and every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is what I do. I do Drop the Mic Live Mic, okay? Drop the Mic Live Mic is basically a platform that I set up on Instagram for underlining topics, for people to be able to communicate, for people to feel like they have a voice, okay, and understand the reasoning as to why they're going through what they're going through by actually interacting and socializing with people just like them, okay? So that is what Drop the Mic Live Mic is, and we always come with love, laughter, and honesty. So, yes. Transparency and exposure, y'all. Transparency and exposure. I'm going to pin this real quick. All right, so let's get started. Let's really get started. The basis and the nature of this conversation that I'm planning on having tonight is because, one, first and foremost, I am a very transparent person. Period. Y'all, if y'all watch me on Instagram, if y'all watch me on YouTube or whatever the case may be, y'all gonna know that, I have no problem telling it like it is. I have no problem letting you guys in, you know what I'm saying? I have no problem with doing my hair on Instagram, like whatever it may be, coming on here, very simplistic, things of that nature. I have no problem with doing that, right? However, there's a lot of backlash when it comes to being transparent. Okay, there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of people who won't understand you. There's a lot of people, who actually want to be that way, but do not know how to be that way. Okay, there's a lot of uncertainty in the generalization of exposure and transparency. Okay, so that's just one reason why I chose to do this topic of tonight. Another reason why I chose to do this topic tonight is because I have been seeing on Instagram, like a post and memes and things of that nature about the exposure, overly sexual exposure when it comes to our children. Okay. Things being brought up in school, homework, assignments, okay, overly sexualized assignments given to our children. Like I said, homework, topics, What else? Cartoons. Okay. These are things that I've been noticing that I've been seeing on Instagram lately. All right. So I just want to address it. And I want to know more or less like what is too much? What is too much? What is not enough? Okay, what are we doing? What's going on in the world as to why they feel like these children should be so exposed to certain things? Are we the ones that's bugging the people that feel like it's too much? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Okay, because I do know and I do understand as we evolve, right, in the world, things change. Okay, so when I say like, are we the ones bugging? I mean like, if you don't want children doing it, we shouldn't be doing it. That's the whole fact. That definitely is a fact. Okay. And also let me just explain to you guys, like, feel free to join if that's something that you want to do. I would love, like I said from the beginning, I would love to have this conversation with some interaction because I want to know the opinions of others, especially if it's male energy. You know what I'm saying? Me being a woman, I may look at things differently, things of that nature. So if you feel like getting on at this time, please feel free to join. If not, I'm more than welcoming you to just interact. Okay. There is seemingly a lot more exposure, right, these days when it comes to over sexualizing our children, right? And then the people that come from a different era, meaning myself and some others, right, will be like, well, damn, why they doing that? Like, they exposing our children to too much. It's too much going on in the world, right? However, what I will say is that the world is evolving, right? So I want to know, okay, are we the ones bugging? Because at the end of the day, like, I do also understand that as things evolve, who are we to like pick and choose which one that we're going to evolve with? You know, what topics are we going to evolve in? Okay. So, yeah. Hello, King. How are you?
Blessed and abundant. I told you I was gonna make it.
Yes, I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful. Yes, I'm great. I'm great. First and foremost, you are a new face on Drop the Mic Live Mic, so I would like for you to introduce yourself and what it is that you do.
I'm keys open doors. I like to have fun.
Okay. All right. So the topic of conversation for tonight is transparency and it's in exposure. I'm gearing towards children. I have questions. I have statements, right? So we just gonna get into it. I seen a meme, and I see the meme basically was the cartoon. It was a Scooby-Doo cartoon, and then it was like another cartoon. I forget what the cartoon was, but it was another cartoon that was basically like over sexualizing our children, exposing them to that. I personally feel, in my opinion, that it's too much, right? However, I do know that the world is evolving. I do know that things change when evolution happens, right? So I also want to know, like, is it me? Is it us?
It's our fault. We don't take responsibility for it as adults. It's like anytime I make any question about anything that's hypersexualized, ordinarily it's mostly I get most resistance from women about what's hypersexual and what isn't, because women like to say oftentimes I don't like to be sexualized, right? Or I'm not doing this to be sexualized, right? I.e., whether it be dancing, body language, or choice of apparel, right? But it's crazy that most of the choices of apparel and body language and dances come from strippers. So are strippers not doing it to entice and sexualize themselves in order to turn on their audience? That's exactly what they're doing it for. Where we got this distinct blurred line is the fact that years ago, maybe 15 years ago, we could distinguish between who was a stripper and who wasn't based off how they conducted themselves and looked. We can no longer do that.
Right.
It's all the same thing now.
Right.
A lot of that is blurred into you can take your top 3 rappers right now, top 3 female rappers, and they would all resemble exactly what a stripper would resemble if you went to a strip club. So there is no difference. There is no differentiation. So once women felt the need more and more and more to say that they don't want to be sexualized, but then continues to hypersexualize themselves and give off that sexual energy and then try to normalize it and make it seem like it's not that, then so will little girls. So will children. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the more women feel like they need to be naked, then the more they will be. And you can't fault little girls for wanting to do what mommy does. You can't fault little girls for wanting to do what the most popular rappers are doing. You know what I'm saying? So That's that. So if we don't want children doing it, we shouldn't be doing it.
So what about
making children?
No, you're absolutely right about that, and that's actually a different avenue from what it is that I mean. It's on the same page, but it's a different angle as well as to the conversation. So that's accurate. What about the television shows and things of that nature that are exposing our toddlers damn near to LGBT? What is it? I'm sorry, I don't want to get it wrong, so I don't even want to say it. But you know, what about that avenue?
Again, you know,
is that our fault? Do you look at that to be our fault?
I'm sorry, you went out.
I said, is that our fault? Do you look at that to be our fault?
Yeah, it is our fault. Is there a fault? Is there what's wrong with it?
The exposure to the youth?
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
I just think that okay, so I'm a firm believer on children should be exposed to limited things. And I think that when it comes to forcing it, because I think at this point it's forced. So I think that when it comes to it being forced, I think that that's totally wrong. And I do think that the fact that it's something sexual being forced is even wronger.
Okay. Could you mind giving me like an example of like
so
like forced to me? Like a show in specific, if you could.
Yeah, so like it what was the show? It was like a dang, I forget this show. But it's really like a baby show. Like you would sit your 6-month-old in front of it to watch, right? So now it's like they overdoing it with the dating, right? And now it's like they are basically like promoting it. They're promoting it with the colors, they're promoting it with the dating, they're promoting it with the involvement or whatever the case may be. Yes.
Homosexuality.
And just and even if it was,
so you don't agree with homosexuality?
No, what you mean? Do I agree with it? Do I mind it?
Lifestyles. Is it acceptable?
It is acceptable.
So what's wrong with kids seeing it?
I don't think that it should be acceptable if it was the other way around. Like if it was not that. I just don't think it's acceptable. I think because it's homosexuality and they have what is it called? Like not been introduced to the world for so long and things of that nature, I feel like it's more exposed.
Yeah, I'm asking, like, so you don't think that children should see same-sex people dating on cartoons and stuff?
No.
Okay, so you would have had a problem if like Tommy Pickles' parents were a same-sex couple? It would have bothered you?
For children, I'm gonna say because everyone doesn't agree with that. That's something that's controversial, right?
But not everybody agrees with heterosexuality. So is that okay? It's okay to see heterosexual parents?
No, it's not. No, it's not. But I do feel, and from my opinion, like growing up, my experience growing up, like you didn't even see that as often with heterosexual cartoons and things of that nature.
You always saw parents, men and women. You always saw male and female parents.
Yeah, they weren't kissing. They weren't liking each other. And like in that way and things of that nature. No, not as often.
Yes, there was. The Simpsons, Rugrats, Family Guy, Tom and Jerry, all of the Looney Tunes cartoons, Animaniacs, all of them. All of them had adults kissing and excessive kissing at that. They all did. Parents had, yeah. They all did. There was. Every Disney film, male, female, kissing. So does it only bother you that it's homosexual now? or LGBT and all the, I don't know.
No, I feel like it bothers me more. I feel like for me, it bothers me because I feel like it's forced. I feel like it's pushed on them more. I really do. I feel like you're seeing it more often. I feel like you're seeing it more often in the younger exposure.
Yeah, just like
They're
homosexuality. It's exposed to us. It's exposed to us at a young age.
I don't know. I don't know. I gotta go back. I gotta go back on that.
Go ahead. I have no issues with that.
And I'm not a person that watches TV too much, so I'm not. It's like, okay. So do you? So let me ask you something. So is that something? Do you have an issue with? Do you see an issue in it?
Oh, I no longer speak on those issues. I no longer give my opinion on things anymore.
Oh, why? Why?
I'm a black heterosexual male. I'm not allowed to have an opinion on anything.
Oh.
So.
Is that like something you chose, or is that like?
I was kind of forced into it. So the money matters more than my opinion does. So I'd rather make money.
No, absolutely. But drop the mic live, Mike. You are more than welcome to have an opinion.
Nah, this is live. People can see me.
Oh, okay.
But
No, I feel you. We could.
It's happening more.
Yes.
It's happening more. I'll give you what I can give you.
Okay.
It's happening more.
Okay.
It's like Quay there said. I think it's controversial because it's not considered the norm.
The norm.
It really couldn't be considered the norm because when you're talking about these cartoons that I just mentioned, we're usually talking about it from a parental aspect. With most Disney films, one of the parent dies. It's usually the mom. Mom gets popped, dead, divorced, something. She's not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the parent usually finds a love interest of some sort, or the child is looking for some love interest of the sort, right? Prince and the Frog, Cinderella, things of that nature, right? And it seems very natural because parents have sex and then they have children. So you're looking at it as a child would look at it, make it very familiar for the child by, I have parents too. So that's what it's like. You know what I'm saying? There's a familiarity, which would be the norm, which is male and female have sex and make children. It's almost like we would depend on men and women having sex to populate. It's almost like homosexual people kind of depend on straight people to have sex in order for them to make gay people. But
it gets deep. More. Well, I will say this. The topic of conversation tonight is not preferably about, gay people. That's not where we're going with that. I just literally, yes, it's about exposure, that being one of them. And that's what geared me towards this topic, because I've seen that. However, what is too much exposure and what is the difference between exposure and transparency? If there's a difference.
As far as period, or as far as like we're talking about with children see?
Well, with children right now. That's what we're talking about with children right now. Yeah. What would be considered like too much exposure, and what would be considered
scary? Because everything that my children would experience outside of what I would have going on in my home is going to be a question when they go to school. It was like my friend asked me one time, he's like, why, when these issues and these topics did really concern me, he's like, yo, why are you so concerned about why are you so concerned about that topic, the LGBT and heterosexuality and sexuality and homosexuality? Why are you so concerned about it if it doesn't affect you if they're homosexual or not? I'm like, okay, so imagine your son goes to school, bro. You know what I'm saying? Your son goes to school and his favorite male teacher now comes to school with a skirt and makeup on. That's his favorite. That's his idol. That's his role model. And now your son comes home and says, Daddy, I want to wear a skirt. Are you okay with it? No, I would not be okay with it. You can't say nothing, though.
Right.
It does affect you, right? He's like, oh, shit, it does. I'm like, well, yeah, that's why. But, I don't like to talk about those topics no more because...
of course, it's touchy, it's sensitive. People can get offended really easily. But not for nothing or whatever. These are the type of conversations that we need to have. You understand what I'm saying? Because
who I was is I don't care. I don't sugarcoat shit. I just go straight from the gut. Let's call a spade a spade. It's like with this, let's talk about transparency. In order to be transparent, we got to be honest, right?
Right, exactly.
You have to be honest. So I'm not gonna.
And not when it's convenient.
when they're telling us that it's body positivity to be obese and out of shape, when that is not the norm. That is not what our bodies are supposed to do. But nonetheless, society's trying to push for that body positivity, especially on American sad diet, which includes all the junk food that we do eat and the trash that we do eat. So, of course, the government's going to push for that because they make money off of all those types of diets, right? So, continuing to push the unhealthiness of people, of humans, period, especially Black people. We got the normalcy of it, and especially amongst our Black women, which make up for a lot of the obese community, because we have a tendency for Black women to normalize it and make it seem like obesity is okay. Even with myself, they'll come up and rub my belly and say, "Oh, I like that." I'm like, "You like me being unhealthy? That's a little bit weird, but okay, we're not." But we don't speak to
because they're trying to feed your ego
or educate ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're learning that the gut is the second brain. This reason why anytime there's something going wrong, you're scared, you're happy, fearful, nervous, anxiety, pregnant, nauseous. Stomach,
right?
Intuition, stomach. It's all stomach. So
right.
we really skip past that as far as education is concerned. So we don't understand it as adults. So the hardest thing to teach people is what healthy is and what healthy isn't. So as a vegan, it's not even a conversation I want to have. People swear to me now, like, you can't make people go vegan. I've never tried to.
Right.
Some people go vegan. I never did. Not once in my life have I ever told anyone to go vegan unless they asked me to tell them what to do. You know what I'm saying? But I will speak about the facts. But again, with transparency and exposure, we got to be honest. So if I'm honestly saying that eating a dead animal seems like doesn't seem like a humane thing. If it's a humane thing, tell me how murdering anybody and taking it away from their mother is a humane thing, and they're eating their dead body. If that's something humane, explain it to me. But let's be honest. We don't like to have honest conversations.
We don't like to have honest conversations. Exactly.
If you walk up to somebody and call them fat, they'll get offended. But then you'll see posting it on their page talking about, "Oh, I love being fat." Do you? So why are you offended when I call you fat? That doesn't align. Because if you walk up to somebody and call them fit, they're going to say, "Oh, thank you." Like, "Oh, how'd you get so fit?" They'll give you advice. You ask somebody how they got so fat, they get offended. But are you truly proud of being fat, or are you not proud of being fat? Because then I should be able to ask you, "Damn, how'd you get so fat?" Because when I ask people, "Damn, your body is so fucking beautiful and it's so amazing," then how come there's no tutorials on how to get fat? There's actually a show called My 600-Pound Life, which is nobody on there trying to get fatter. I don't see anybody that's proud of being fat and obese putting up a post saying, "Yes, gain 10 more pounds."
Yes.
Let them lose a pound or two. They're definitely going to post about that. So we're not honest about shit. So that's why I just be keeping my opinions.
Nah, I feel you. I definitely do. But, it's just not, but I'll just say, however, it's just sad because that's how, just what you said, all that you said is the reason why people choose to keep their mouth quiet. And that's never the solution, though. That's just never the solution. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter who wants to hear it or who doesn't. The transparency needs to be there. I feel like people are very transparent and exposed when it's convenient.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like people don't do it, and it's not like everyone doesn't have it in them. We absolutely do. It's just when it's convenient.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
If we weren't afraid of criticism, we'd be a lot better off as a people. But we are so afraid of criticism that we've gone to the stage of no snitching. So nobody really cares if a child gets shot unless they know the child or it's a friend of their child.
That's a whole fact.
Nobody really cares about any type of drug crisis, i.e. the crack epidemic versus the opioid crisis. Nobody really cares or has any type of empathy until it happens to a community or somebody close to them. Nobody cares about stray bullets. Nobody cares about black-on-black violence. Nobody cares about gun violence. Nobody cares about burning buildings. Nobody cares about global warming. Nobody cares about any issue, cancer. Nobody cares about any of these issues until it directly affects them. Then they become advocates for the things because it directly affects them, which is why we got to understand that we're not islands. We're here on this earth together, which is one of the main reasons why I stay vegan. Like, it affects us all. So I got to do my part and then talk about it, right? Have a conversation about it. That's how things are getting transferred from one person to the next. You have to have a conversation. So it's just like the shoelaces. So the shoelace was invented by an adult. That's one of the first things that we teach a child. Then now we have colored laces, fat laces, ribbon laces, rope laces, all types of laces because we cut that learning curve. Say the adult that invented the shoelace was 30 years old. We teach it to a 2-year-old. Now that's a 28-year learning curve that we've already cut. Boom, by teaching somebody younger than us. Now they have a 30-year gap. Head start to innovate on an idea that you gave them once you learned in your 30s or whatever. But
right,
we're honest with each other, which is probably
never gonna happen.
We're honest with each other, but we're not honest about these things. Again, with the transparency and the exposure, like I began the conversation with, like, when you ask a woman, "Oh, why do you have your boobs out?" Mind your business. But amongst her girls, she'll say, "How my titties look."
Right. Right.
It's weird. It's like, oh, you don't want these 50 guys that came to you that said your ass looks nice, but the one nigga that says it in a rap song and it happens to be your favorite celebrity rapper, if he says it while you at the club, he's getting your number, probably taking you home. It's the catch-22. We have to be honest 100% of the times about those things if we're gonna be completely honest. Like,
that's the whole fact. And then we complain about why we
I ask them no more. I ask them how do they feel about, like, if you truly do love your own hair, how come you hide it most of the time?
Right.
Oh, you don't know what it's like you don't know what it's like to have hair. Man, I have hair. I just don't live to the same standards that you hold yourself to as far as look, I don't give a damn about this.
Right.
Like, I'm comfortable in my own skin where I can show up like this and there'll be pictures of me across the internet with my hair look like I wouldn't care because that's how I am. Now, when we push ourselves to have these societal standards of what hair is supposed to look like, especially for women, because women don't feel womanly unless their hair is flowing, which sucks. They don't feel womanly unless their hair is long or purposely cut short, which is that's the fucked up part. And
yeah, that's
like, it's me versus somebody in the Jim Crow era talking about a black woman's hair. They would win.
Right.
They don't want you to love your own hair. They don't want you to show it off. They'd rather you have on a European wig or an Indian wig. I'd rather see your own DNA or your own hair. It's weird for a woman to say, oh, you got thick hair. Your children are going to have gray hair. Can I get the chance to identify whether or not your children would have thick hair or what? No, it's not the same. Like, it's really not the same.
No, it's not.
I don't enjoy seeing a bunch of glued on stuff or prosthetic body parts for a woman to feel beautiful. I'd rather her feel beautiful in her own.
Right. I have a few different topics. I mean, not topics, but subjects in regards to transparency with children, right? And I want to like see how we can go about that. So, Santa Claus, is that too much? Is there wait, hold on. Santa Claus not being real. That's what I meant. Santa Claus not being real. Is that too much exposure? I have another one. I'm going to go down the list.
I'm raising my children. No, it's not too much exposure. And I tell people all the time, if you don't want your kids to know the truth, don't have them around me. I'm not going to lie to your kids. That's your job, not mine.
Right.
I lie to children.
Right. Smoking weed or cigarettes?
Am I going to let them or what's the question?
Smoking around them. Smoking weed or cigarettes around them. Is that too much exposure, or would that be considered transparency?
My children, they're gonna know what weed is. They're gonna know how to grow it, what it is, what its uses is for, how it saves lives, how it's never killed anyone. The laws that were made against it just to marginalize your people inside of a systemic prison system. They're gonna learn all of that. Then they're gonna learn agriculture, and then they're definitely gonna own parts of their own farm and greenhouses where they're growing weed. So, weed around them, yeah. Cigarettes, no. And I also explain
why weed? Why weed around them, and why not cigarettes? Because you don't smoke cigarettes.
No.
Okay.
Cigarettes kill people.
Okay. Okay. Sex.
Am I gonna have sex around my kids?
Not sex around. Not necessarily sex around your kids. However, overly exposing them in the household, like overly affection in front of them.
Like sexually affectionate in front of them? No.
Yeah, not the actual intercourse part or anything like that, of course, but you know, we have moderate affection and then we have overly affection.
I'm not grabbing my wife's boobs or her butt or her private area in front of my children or mimicking any type of sexual acts in front of my children. Kissing, hugging, holding, loving, words of affirmation, all that good stuff, the sexual stuff. I don't even like to see it. I don't want to.
Right. Now I'm just asking because, you know, some people are doing these things. So that's why I'm trying to say, like, what's too much exposure or transparency, or is it okay? So we also have to differentiate what exposure is and transparency, or are they the same thing? So I'm just gonna go down the list with the few left, and then we can get into that. Decision making. Are the kids involved in the decision making in the home?
Some.
Okay. What will be detailed as some?
Maybe when we're going to have fun that day. The menu for the week. Snap choices from choices. Like, they get choices from choices, but not definitive choices. I'm not gonna ask them like for financial advice as far as that's concerned.
Right.
Those choices.
Right. Alcohol, drinking in front of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alcohol kills people too. So what we do?
Sure.
So why yay to alcohol and nay to cigarettes?
Because me smoking a cigarette is showing how much I don't care about others. Because secondhand smoke is the number one killer of people that have cigarettes and tobacco and all that other good stuff. So that would be that. Me pouring anything into my own body is not going to
harm them. I like that. Family business, such as selling drugs, selling weed, things of that nature. You know, certain things that happen in family business. Is it too much to expose the children?
Should I be exposing my children to stuff that's
so transparency and keeping it honest. Families who sell weed, families who sell drugs, families who sell guns, families who, family business, but it's not necessarily the ideal.
In a dispensary or two, if not a farm, they're definitely going to own farms. We mean like narcotics though? If we're talking about, that's not in family business. That's illegal activities.
I mean, no, because illegal activities can be family business. It's just illegal.
That's not in my family business.
Well, not in your family business, but we're talking about a generalization. Is it too much exposure to allow children to see what family business may be, whether it be illegal or not?
If it's detrimental, they shouldn't be seeing it.
Okay.
Seeing a family member selling narcotics, heroin, crack cocaine to people is not something that I want my children to see. But that's exposure, right? But then if they don't, but then again, like I say all the time, like, because women like to argue with me and say that it's not parents' job or it's not other adults' jobs for children, for them to shelter children from seeing the way that they dress or behave or shaking their butts or doing whatever they want to do, or the language or reciting the lyrics WAP, right? That's not their job. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. They're like, that's the parents' job to keep it from them. Parents do not see their children 24 hours of the day. They're going to go into the world and hang with children, go to school. They're going to be around other kids. I found out about certain stuff by going to school. I wasn't allowed to listen to rap for a long time. But whose parents stopped them from watching BET Uncut? So I think we all have a responsibility to all children for us to set an example for them to what they should be seeing and what they shouldn't be seeing.
Absolutely.
So, but then the transparency part about it is what they're going to. Once they do, you have to sit down and be transparent with them and have a conversation with them.
Right.
You can't just say, no, that's that. You know what I'm saying? No, you gotta.
Right.
Give them boundaries.
And I do feel like if you are a parent that feel like you want your child to be on the right track, then that's the avenue that you're going to go, like what you just said. However, there's just so many families that feel like, this is family. Like, it doesn't matter what it is that's going on. This is what we doing. This is how we get in, this is how we surviving. Pretty much. And family is family, and family is everything. And you're supposed to stick by family through thick and thin, and, the whole shebang. So that's going on more than not, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, is it too much? Is it not too much? Or whatever the case may be. It's just depending on the perspective of who's doing what. So the question that I was asking is exposure different from transparency?
Yeah. I think I just briefly explained that.
You did.
Exposure is you purposely having them around it or them being around it because of you, and then transparency would be the explanation of it, of it being around, why it's not around or why it is around, what it is. I think just honesty is just the key about it in order for them to have a better understanding about it instead of creating stigmas for people, which is the whole reason why there's so many black men incarcerated because of marijuana, because of the stigmas against marijuana. And then now look, they'll lock us up. Ooh, should I say that?
You can say it.
I gotta get PR. A lot of black inventions have been shut down and then taken over by the government, like the WIC program,
yes,
the lottery, and things of the like. So
the lottery,
and now the sale and distribution of
marijuana. Absolutely. I don't know if this is necessarily a question that could be answered, but I guess in our opinion, like, is it better to expose your child and be transparent, or is it better to be less transparent and less exposure? I know that's a very general question.
Exposure is best, in my opinion.
Exposure is best. Why?
Exposure is best. Exposure is best because we are people that are coming out of it, hopefully, but we are disenfranchised because of our lack of exposure.
Yes. Okay.
It's the transparency part that we're lacking. It's once family business comes into play, you got family and you got people in the family, let's say, for instance, selling heroin or whatever, right? And now you're explaining to your child that selling heroin is okay? Or are you telling them distinctly that this is not something that I want to have around you and you should never be doing? Then your child's going to ask, probably, depending on the brightness of the child's going to ask you at some point, so why is it okay for Uncle Wild to do it and it's not okay for me to do it eventually? And so that's just a conversation that every parent's going to have to, if you're going to be transparent and honest. You know, I just finished watching Kanan too, so it's a very interesting conversation.
Right, and power and all of those things. Right, exactly.
So, you know, my mom was very she tried to be very sheltering. I kind of appreciate it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it's like a catch-22 when it comes to being sheltered, not sheltered, when it comes to exposure, the lack of exposure and you know, more exposure. I feel like it's kind of like a, I don't know, an uneven balance, maybe. I don't know, like, because, you know, there's a lot of good in not exposing your children to so much. There's a lot of good that comes from that, but then it's a lot of bad that comes from it. So where's the balance? Like, where's the healthy balance at?
Just keep them away from stuff that, if you don't want them, like I said, if you don't want them doing it, you shouldn't be doing it yourself, or you shouldn't have them around it. But I was going to give you an example before I get off of here. My mother tells me about the story. We was in the playground playing on the slide or whatever, and then we noticed all these plastic bottles on the ground with different color tops, these little tubes. So we got a little plastic bag and started collecting them all with like all the different colors, you know, made a game out of it. And then my dad came home and he saw us in the park and he was like, "Man, what the fuck are you doing?" She's like, "What? We collect these little bottles." He slapped the bag out of our hands and said, "Go upstairs and wash your hands," because they were crack bottles.
Right.
So with the exposure and the transparency, my mother had no idea what it was because she vows to stay away from stuff like that. And of course, I didn't know what it was because no one ever explained it to me. So there, in that case in point, I believe that transparency and exposure would have been very beneficial for you to explain, like, this is crack bottles, you shouldn't be touching it.
Right. Right, because you do have to explain exactly what it is that you're saying no to. That's a big, and that is the problem. That really is. You've been saying that all night, and it's clicking. It's clicking now. Absolutely. Do you have to get off before we go into the adult side of it?
Oh, hold on. Let me see something. Let me just plug up my phone. How about that?
Okay. I appreciate it. Go. Okay. Okay, so we're going to get into adults and relationships with transparency and exposure really quick. Okay. So one of the questions that I've had in pertaining to that is, when is it necessary to expose and be transparent in a relationship? I personally feel like there's so many relationships out here who are non-transparent and non-exposed, and it has all the reason as to why their relationships have gone sour, going sour, an illusion, delusion, etc., etc. So, is exposure and transparency one, healthy for the relationship, and two, when is it necessary to be that way?
From day one, kind of.
Wait, hold on. The kinda? Why the kinda?
I'm gonna give it to you, and it takes people being exposing themselves to themselves first, because a lot of people aren't honest about how they are, who they are with themselves, in order for them to be honest and transparent with the potential partner about how they are and who they are.
Okay.
A lot of people that they don't have an attitude problem.
But does that mean that you should not expose yourself to the person that you're choosing to be with because you haven't exposed yourself to yourself yet?
Yeah, that's true. You should expose yourself to yourself before you go looking for somebody else to be with, because then now while you're finding out things about yourself, now it's a whole new surprise for that person as well. It's like, oh, damn, I didn't know that. It's kind of unfair for me to have to make that decision at this point when you weren't honest about it for the job. And I say kinda being honest, because not all information is for everyone.
Okay.
You don't know, like it depends on the length of time or length of commitment in that relationship as well. Like, for instance, women tend not to handle knowing or seeing. Well, better off seeing. Like, if say you have a fan on your social media or something like that, women don't like that. Or some people just may not like seeing things or knowing certain things about you or whatever, and they can't deal with it. The transparency and exposure needs to be from day one.
Is that your problem or theirs that they can't deal with it though?
They can't. A lot of it depends on the level of honesty. You got to see what somebody's head is at before you start volunteering information.
Right, but I'm a firm believer. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, this is my opinion, but I don't feel that I should not be as transparent because you necessarily can't handle that. I feel like being who you are will attract who should be with you.
Who people be? People are always themselves when they first meet you.
That's true.
So, but it's always the little subtle hints of stuff that we don't like that we ignore.
That's very true. I do agree, though, wholeheartedly with you saying that, everything is not for everybody. That's something that I can definitely relate to,
like
and that
one time
that.
I'm sorry.
No, that's more like accurate, but it seldomly goes unnoticed. Like people don't use that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was like a gem right there. Yeah.
Like, because if we're talking about transparency and exposure, then I mean, like, because a person like myself, I'm gonna ask you. So, what you got? What's your body count and your credit score? These are important things, are they not?
Well, we had a whole conversation about body count. I don't know if it's that important, but your credit score, absolutely.
Oh, body count is definitely important.
Yeah.
I mean, only if you intend to be in a committed relationship. If not, whole way. If you do,
I mean, I think it's to each his own.
I mean, I'm talking about the facts, though. Let's talk about the facts.
Yeah, let's talk about the facts then. Go ahead.
The facts is that the less body count that you have, the more likely that your marriage is going to last longer.
We talked about that statistically.
Statistically speaking, that's a fact.
How? Well, I don't want to deter the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to take the conversation back to body count, but
that's directly body count. The less bodies that you have, the more likely you are to get married. It's very important.
Make it make sense.
It's very important. A man should. I mean, if you're transparent about what yourself, because then it's again the catch-22. We have to be honest with ourselves and everyone around us, because women will gladly talk about their whole body count amongst their girl club and be honest about it. Oh, I had 2 niggas this week. When it comes to guys, like, oh, so how many did you fuck anybody this week? Mind your business. Okay, cool. But is that who you are? Is that a part of who you are? Yes, it is. Do I want to get to know you or not?
So you don't think that is just based solely off of if the man, if it's important to that guy or not?
I mean, there's certain things that it's important. Period. Only if you want to be committed. If it's not important to him, we've always seen where those situations go as well.
Yay and nay. I don't know. We're going to agree to disagree on that one, but we can get back to that.
Okay.
Listen, there are a lot of women with a lot of body counts who are married. Happily married. Yes.
Name one.
Publicly, I don't know, but I know people.
Transparency and exposure would be publicly. If we're all at this, because if we all lived in the same community, the same village, and if it takes a village, right? And I know that everybody in this village done had my wife before I got to her. What's the?
No, see that, but see, there we go. That makes a difference as well. If it's in the community, if it's the circle, if it's the people that you know, Yes, absolutely. That makes all the difference. If you are meeting, if you
think that because they think that 6 degrees of separation separates them from being the thought that they actually are who they want to perceive themselves as to the world. That only works for women, so y'all can hide it here and be prevalent and living it over here. You want to pick and choose when to be proud of your thoughtticity.
But the moral of the story is this: women with body counts are getting married and happily married. Name some that are not. Yes, I'm listening.
Name some that are not.
That are not.
Chrissy.
Who Chrissy?
Yeah.
This guy's okay.
Megan Thee Stallion.
She's a young girl. She shouldn't even be married yet.
But she should be talking about the stuff that she's talking about and shaking her ass half naked.
She got a man that love her.
For now, we don't know what the fuck he's saying behind closed doors, finding out new bodies in the public because she was not transparent and exposing herself to her man. But then again, we're talking about committed people versus what they preach, because we act like they rapping like that life and they're not living that life. But it's cool because, again, if we're talking about from the beginning of this, if children are important, do we have to set an example for them? Then cool. Then sing your child to bed with Megan Thee Stallion songs about how she's sucking off and fucking off on all these different types of dudes, because that's what's edifying to the soul. So you can't tell me she shouldn't be married, but you can't tell me the other things that she shouldn't be doing. She's doing it, in my opinion, a million things that I would never be proud of my daughter doing it. But again, the transparency and exposure, because then women say, "Oh, why do guys get upset with women when they have OnlyFans or they want to be strippers?" Like, all right, cool. If you're okay with that for your daughter, then cool. But if not, then you completely understand why. Okay, so
are you a believer in that? You know, this is why a lot of people though aren't transparent and are so quick to expose. You know what I'm saying? Because they are afraid of judgment.
That's fine. But you know what the funny shit is? Especially if we're talking about our community and we're talking about Black women in specific, which hold the highest amount of scholastic debt, because they put education, they put the certificate of education above actual the morale in the community and our own roles in the community and Black women's roles within the community. So then we have a lot of people that place that precedent over anything that's actually of real value. So now you got people just placing value on monetary things and material things when that's not. Is that important?
No, that's not important.
Right? It's not important. So does a degree change your thougtivity? Does the fact that a man's penis going inside a woman's vagina leaves his DNA within there for 7 years, is that important at all? Is energy important? Is spiritual cocktails important?
Right.
So if you're having sex with all these people, but you're acting like you're not, then are you being transparent and exposing yourself to yourself? Or are you acting like, oh, you know what, I'm going to do this over here and then do this over here, like a lot of, you know, the fake.
Right, I get it.
Title we talk about, you know what I'm saying?
I definitely get it. Your original response to the question that was asked as well was basically, you said body counts. You said body counts for exposure and transparency. You said body counts, and what else did you say? It was yes, body count and credit score. Okay, and you said that they're not as transparent or so quick to expose something like that.
No, because again, with the scholastic debt, you'll have plenty of women that say, "Oh, well, I'm getting to these coins," right? We're talking about the job world, the corporate world, the employment world, right? You'll gladly go and apply for the job. You look for the job, you apply. You look for the job, you apply for the job. You'll fill out a resume. You'll change your cover letter. You'll maybe even change the resume if you want to. You apply to the job. You may even stop smoking weed, whether or not there's a drug test, right? Take a drug test. Go to the orientation. Go to the interview. Then go to the job training, then adheres to rules and laws that's at the job that you don't like, and be around people that you don't like for a check. They'll run your credit history, look at your background, see where you live, look at your employment history, which is, would you say invasive or not? Right? You do
yes, it's invasive.
But then when it comes to dating somebody that you may possibly spend the rest of your life with, talking about credit score and financial habits in the beginning is not suitable.
Okay, but you also said that everything is not for everybody.
Right. And you have the right to not apply for this job.
But I also have a right, so I do have a right to not apply for this job. However, my initial thought process to apply for this job is basically I need a job, right? When I say, like you said, everything is not for everybody, why would we be so quick to expose our credit score? Why would we be so quick to expose our body count? Things of that nature. Like,
to know what type of financial habits that the person that you might want to be engaged with or in interacting with participates in. It's just that same reason why you want to hang around a bunch of broke people, because then you're the fifth broke person. Why would I want to be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't exhibit any type of good financial habits or any type of hustle or ambition?
No, I'm talking about the other way around. Like, why would someone be so quick to want to expose their credit score?
Only if they care.
The other way around.
If they care, because usually, honestly, what type of person would not want to give it up? Somebody probably with a bad one, right? Probably doesn't exhibit those good financial habits, right? So they would be less likely to expose that about themselves because they're not being honest with themselves that that's something that doesn't.
But what if they feel like it doesn't fit for the right time right now? Everything is not for everybody.
Oh, not out the gate. These are things to know. Why would I want to start falling in love with somebody that fucking spends all the money?
That's a fact. But your present where you are in the present right now doesn't mean that that's where you'll be in your future. We know that. Now let's say for example, right? Let's say for example with the credit, and we're gonna just stick on the credit because we ain't gonna go back to the body. We're gonna stick on the credit for a minute. When it comes to the credit score and things of that nature, what if they're not so quick to expose it, right? Because what if they're working on it, but right now in this moment it's bad, but they do still like you? That doesn't mean that they don't like you any less or anything like that, but they don't want you to know something like that because of whatever their reasons are.
That would be a person I'd be way more interested in somebody that says, oh, well, it's none of your business with bad credit and trying to fix it, because at least now I have somebody that I know is showing me indicative in that conversation, and the fact that they chose to do that they are an honest, transparent person with themselves and me out the gate. So I don't have to worry about that later. Oh, that's what you're doing? That's great. Me too. My credit's fucked up. Maybe you could teach me something now. The fuck? You know that she can't be honest with herself and me. But again, I don't expect this anymore.
All right, so I got a question. All right, so when it comes to everything is not for everybody, what would be an example for that? Since that wouldn't be an example.
I don't live by that example. That's your thing. That's your theory. My theory is that.
No, you said it. It's not my theory. You said it. You said everything is not for everybody.
Not everything's for everybody.
No, I was piggybacking off of what you said.
Again, I never said it.
Okay, yes, you did. I'm gonna send you the replay after this, but you did say it. You did. I'm gonna tell. Okay, let's go all the way back for a minute. The reason why you said it is because when you said kinda, and I said, well, why you say kinda to that question? You said because everything is not for everybody.
Oh, as far as that's concerned, knowing where somebody lives. You don't need to know their direct address. Neighborhood, cool. Direct address, maybe not on the first date. That's what I mean.
Okay, so that would be like an example of that. Okay, all right. Is the lack of exposure? This is the last question for tonight's topic. Is the lack of exposure and transparency the cause of breakups? And you know what? Not only breakups, but just confusion and just breakup in friendships, situationships, the whole ideal.
People don't, again, people aren't transparent and honest with themselves about who they are. So it's just like during the pandemic when there was so many breakups, it was like, oh, now you don't have the movies, dates, outings, shopping, money, TV, and all these other things to distract you from the fact that you're just in a relationship with somebody that you kind of like sometimes on the weekends. You're literally dating and not in a relationship because you only like the other person for the dating aspects of the relationship. Because if this was millions of years ago, thousands of years ago, and it wasn't none of the entertainment and distractions, and you had to live with this person, would you still want to be with them?
Right.
So that's why, so it's just like when I look at these celebrity relationships, I'm like,
right.
I'm gonna say it.
Right.
Me and Young Miami, I'm like, I think, like, if you somebody that values a relationship, values a forever person, values marriage, values lineage, values legacy, and all that other stuff, you see no life in that. And again, like I said, I don't agree with the not everything's for everybody, because I feel like if everybody can't do it, you shouldn't be doing it. From your sexuality to your diet choices, if everybody can't do it, you shouldn't be doing it. Right.
Right.
So, and your vices. Like, if everybody came in, because then we all gonna fuck this shit up. You know what I'm saying? So if we all polluting the water, you got global warming.
If everybody can't do it, nobody should be doing it. Okay, you said that you're big on that. Okay, and that's in life.
That's in life.
Okay.
Feel me? Because it's like, if we all decided to be, say the technology didn't exist, we're on this land together, because we're on this land together.
That's right? A fact.
Mm-hmm. And we all decided to be heterosexual. We all decided to be straight. What would be the ramifications of that?
It'd be multiple reproduction.
If everybody was gay.
A lack of reproduction.
Okay. If everybody, if nobody puts their trash in the trash and nobody recycles.
Pollution.
And global warming, which is what we have.
Right.
Everybody actually recycled, cut back on their plastic intake, reused, say it wasn't so into quick fashion, things of that nature, carpooled. What would be the ramifications of it? Went vegan. Is everybody going vegan with end world hunger, which is the funny thing. So it's like we have all these campaigns for world hunger and it's just one easy solution. But when a solution is that easy, when it's something that's indoctrinated into your brain and you're not going to research because you already told yourself no. Because most people that don't go vegan don't do research. It's like, all right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was fun. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to do the research either. I just wanted to try it out. I saw some documentary. The research was done for me. I was like, fuck, tomorrow I'm a vegan. That's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, so if you all can't do it, then none of us should be doing it. And I just think that, a lot of these conversations when you're not transparent with the person about a lot of things. But then again, you don't, to be fair, some people wouldn't know what to be transparent about because some issues that we have, we don't know until we're triggered or we're actually in the vicinity of somebody because it's weird. Like some people say, oh, I've been single for 6 months or to a year or whatever, however long they were single and doing work on themselves. So they feel like those problems are no longer theirs and they no longer exhibit those types of behaviors when you can't be particularly sure because how do you know you can still shoot a basketball unless you actually shoot the basketball? So you would actually have to be in a situation where you're interacting with somebody to say, you know what, I no longer do those things. I wasn't an honest person about my body count previous to this. But now, you know what, I can be honest with myself and say, you know what, I was openly sexual and promiscuous. You know what, that was a part of my life. That was a chapter of my life. Here's what I learned from it. No, do I suggest it? Do I not? That's up to them. But being honest about it so the other person can actually make an honest decision of whether or not that's something for them. Because if everything's not for everybody, then you should allow that other person to be able to make that decision, up front because you want to know.
That's a whole fact. And I also believe that, what people feel like they can get away with if they, if it's not exposed, they put a block to it or they try to at least. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
I got to check you out. I just see you follow me. I appreciate the follow. I'm going to check that out. Who that? If you don't want to drop your name, I'm going to check your page and see what that is. Peace. Thank you for checking this out. Make sure, I don't know if you came here, you obviously didn't come here for me because you don't know who I am, so that's dope. You're supporting China Black.
But I don't know who that is either. So they supporting both of us. That's what's up. I appreciate that. Well, we got 2 minutes left to drop the mic live. Mike, I just appreciate you coming on here.
Oh, you got the timer? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Oh, you can ask me a question.
Man, how do you can your homegirls date anybody that you dealt with?
Ooh, oh my God. All right, all right. We gonna do that next week. We can do that next week.
I'll pop in next week. We can talk about that next week.
All right, you gotta make that a promise though. You can't be like telling me that and then you ain't gonna come on. Because that's a great topic.
Only promise to come on my dream.
I got you. Yes. Peace, love, and honesty. Thank you so much. Go and follow him right now, guys. Please.
I pulled up and popped in. I don't want to hear it.
You really did, though. Like, you really did. Don't be trying to take over my show. Because I be seeing you. You know what I'm saying? I be seeing you. So I appreciate it. Like, you have no idea. I do. I really do. Yes. Have a great night.
Peace.
Later.